Welcome everyone, and today is our DIY holiday sweater. So I made this very silly, wiggly Rudolph with lots of extra adornment on his antlers. So I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks today of how to make your very own DIY holiday sweater so that you can wow everyone at any ugly sweater parties that you go to or any Christmas sweater parties. I mean, this isn't ugly, is it? I mean, I don't know. It's right on that line of is it cute or is it ugly? It could go either way. But tacky, it for sure is. And I'm excited about that because that's what it's all about, just having fun with the holidays. And this is my reindeer. So today we are going to be making this reindeer, but I'm also going to talk about some of the other ways that you can change the same pattern that I am giving you into lots of other options. So we'll be focusing on the reindeer, but I'm going to show you some mixing and some matching to come up with some other really original holiday sweater or sweatshirt ideas. So let's switch over to the other camera and let me show you what's going on over here. So on this very tacky, very beautiful, beautiful sweater, we have a Gildan sweatshirt. So these are great. These are all sold at Michael's. You can get so many different sizes, so many different colors. Depending on where you live, maybe you're not going to have a sweater party. Maybe you need a holiday t-shirt. So get a t-shirt, get a tank top, get a sweatshirt, get a hoodie, get whatever you need. But we have all of those kinds of apparel in the aisles at Michael's. So check that out, find your color, find your size, and then you're gonna wanna buy a couple of other things. So what I suggested on your shopping list today was a natural pack of felt colors. So this is gonna give us some reindeer options or some woodland creature options with these different colors of natural kind of felt. I also suggested some crazy pom poms, even some jingle bells so people hear you when you're coming. My favorite part of the holiday sweater, I think, are these wiggle eyes because they just add so much silly character to this sweatshirt. Um, your sweatshirt can give people side eye and can get cross-eyed and do all kinds of weird things. So this is what I'm going for. I also went ahead and got this roll of lots of different kinds of ribbon. So we sell several different versions of this, but the one that I suggested for today has a really cool like Santa belt on it. It has some snowmen, it has some green zigzags. So all of this definitely makes for something really tacky and really spectacular. So you can tell that I used this ribbon on the antlers. You can tell that I used this green and red ribbon also on the antlers, and then down here on some trim too. And one other thing that I used were some velvet red bows from Michael's. Now, these are really, really popular this year. Any velvet bows are just jumping off the shelves. So you might not be able to find these, but that's okay because I'm going to show you another way to make your own if there aren't any left on the shelves. But if you're lucky enough to get some of these velvet bows, you should use them on your ugly Christmas sweater and just really impress all your friends. So we have lots of fun things to play with today. I definitely have a hot glue gun, I have a pattern, and I have some scissors, some really good felt scissors that are going to go with my felt. So I'm going to take this sweatshirt down and put it to the side. And I have two choices today. I have a gray sweatshirt and I have a red sweatshirt. So I would love to hear in the chat if you want to see me working on the gray one or the red one. And this is a Make Market sweatshirt. This is a Make Market sweatshirt. Gildan and Make Market sweatshirts are all sold in the Michael's aisles. So I also have a template for you. I think that Rich already put it into the chat. But if you're going to watch this video later on YouTube, then you can always print this out later. You might not need this template because honestly, it's not that difficult. These are some shapes that you can probably cut out yourself without having too much difficulty. But if you want a little safety net, I also took a paper plate when I originally drew the face of my reindeer, and I honestly just traced an 8-inch paper plate. So you can do that too, and you don't have to cut out your template and you don't have to use a printer if you don't have one. So make sure that you grab this, and then I'm going to start with my red sweatshirt, so hopefully that's what you wanted. And you can, and you probably should, wash your sweatshirt before you make it, because you can imagine that after I add all of these tacky holiday decorations, it's going to be much more challenging to wash it. It's definitely only a hand wash situation, and even then, so you're going to want to be very careful with it. So I have this, I have my template, and I want to show you some things we can do with the template. So I have a face, I have ears, and then on the back, I have the antlers and some of the little features that go inside of those ears and the mouth to kind of make some definition. But I want to show you that you can use the same pattern and make other things besides a reindeer. For example, maybe you want to take that big old circle and give it a beard and give it a hat and make yourself a Santa. So you could have a Santa with the same pattern. You could also take this and even take the same ears we're using and maybe turn them a little different and give them some cute little cheeks. And you could have yourself a little elf if you wanted to make a cute elf. But I think what makes these sweatshirts every time for me are the giant wiggle eyes. So don't forget those wiggle eyes, because that to me is how you turn this into something extraordinary and very attention getting. So this could be a little elf. It almost looks like an elf from Harry Potter, if you're familiar with that. You could put a little hat on them. You could add some bows. Yesterday in class, we did a bow making class. And so I still have some extra velvet bows that we created. So you could give him a bow, or you could put a little bow in his hair. Oh, look at that cute little elf. So you can just mess around with the same pattern and just have this basic circle and have these wiggle eyes and make lots of different versions of things. I also like having a big red pom-pom nose. So even if you're making a Santa, just add that pom-pom nose, and I think that just puts it over the edge. I think if I actually were making this into a Santa also, I think I would go back over all the stuff that I have here in white with maybe some polyfill, and so have it actually fluffy and kind of coming off of the sweatshirt. This bow is still just doing all kinds of beautiful things over here. So yes, Santa can have a bow, that's fine. Or maybe you're going to cut that original circle out of a different color completely, like black. And then maybe you're going to make this into a kitty cat. So using the same pattern with the ears, you can have a silly kitty cat that's getting tangled up in your Christmas lights. And if any of you have a cat, you probably know what that's like. Maybe add some whiskers and you can just kind of play around with that, and that's really sweet. Give him a pom-pom nose too if you want to. Put a hat on him, add a bow, why not? Add all kinds of extra tacky decorations. You can have a kitty cat, or I changed the ear shape just a little bit, and now I have a sweet little puppy dog. My puppy dog don't have whiskers. I'm gonna take those whiskers off. But you could switch it into a dog. You could switch it into, it almost looks like a lamb. Have a little Mary had a little lamb action. Maybe put some white around it, give it some fluff, and now you got, that looks like a lamb already, right? I'm impressed with myself. So this pattern of just this circle for a head and these ears can do a lot and can really just fill up your sweatshirt with any kind of creation you want. So I think this is a good size. I love these eyes. I like them being super oversized. I think that's fun. If you don't want to mess with patterns and you don't want to cut things out on your own, guess what? Michaels also sells these gingerbread people in all these different pre-cut shapes. So you can buy a stack of these for pretty cheap, and they're usually by Kids Crafts. And then I just took some extra felt and I took some smaller wiggle eyes, but I just decorated myself a little gingerbread, have some little pom-poms, and check this out. I used some of the ribbon that came in this ribbon roll, and I made him an ugly sweater and put a little cute little bow on it there too. So you can position a couple gingerbreads on your sweatshirt, hot glue it down, and look at you, another DIY sweatshirt. So that's all my crazy ideas that I've been thinking about this whole time. But right now we're going to focus back on our reindeer, and we're going to create that reindeer together from scratch. So let's go ahead and cut out the pattern. So I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut out the face. And then I'm also going to find my felt. And I'm going to use a light color felt for the face. But again, if you want your deer to be a darker brown, that is just fine. But pick whichever color dark brown you want, and then think about a different color brown for your antlers, or perhaps a black or an ivory or something like that if you want the antlers to be more true. I'm going to use a light color for the face. I'm going to use this lightest brown right here. And then I'm also going to use this dark brown to make the antlers. So that's kind of my plan for my reindeer today. And once I have this circle drawn, I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to trace it. If you want to, or if it's faster, you can also just try and cut it, because I think that you don't necessarily need it to be perfect. But I'm tracing this with a dark felt tip marker so that it shows up and so that you can see what I'm doing. And then I am going to cut inside of the line so that I don't have those black lines on my finished product. You can also flip it over because both sides of the felt are good. So I'm going to take my time and make a really nice round big shape for my reindeer's face. And then I'm going to keep going with the same color, and I'm going to trace the ears also on the template. And I'm going to use those ears. So a reindeer has regular ears, and then it also has antlers. So sometimes people forget about those ears when they're drawing their reindeer and just focus on the antlers. So here's my original circle. In my pattern, like I said, I also have the ears. So I'm going to cut the ear shape out. And it says on the pattern that you need 2 ears. So I usually like to fold over my felt and cut them both at the same time, just to save a little bit. So I'm going to take that light brown color again, and I'm going to fold it over, taking the sticker off. And instead of tracing, I'm going to go ahead and free cut it. So I have it folded over, so I'm doing 2 layers at once. And I'm going to free cut to get both of those ears. There we go. Now I have, you can flip them however you want, but this is kind of where I'm going for my ears for the deer. And then of course I'm going to have the antlers coming out this direction. So I'm curious, those of you who are with me, if anyone has ever been invited to an ugly Christmas sweater party. Have you ever been? Have you ever wanted to go? I'm curious. I'm going to go back to my pattern, and I'm also going to cut out the antlers. So here's the antler shape. I sometimes think ugly Christmas sweater contests are difficult because sometimes ugly sweaters are really, really cute. And so it's kind of like, do you want to call that person's sweater ugly? It gets a little bit tricky. Or like you purposely make something ugly, but it's so ugly that people don't like the way it looks because it is ugly. So should that sweater win, or should that sweater not win, right? So ugly sweater contests are tricky. But what I like about this reindeer too is if any of you want a cute reindeer sweatshirt, you can stop and it can be adorable before I add a lot of tacky extra decorations. So you can use whatever level of tacky and ugly that you choose on this sweatshirt to kind of make it your own barometer, what you prefer. I'm also going to fold this dark brown in half and make sure that I get 2 antlers at the same time so that I don't have to do it twice. I think if I fold it this way, I'll be able to grab them. Yep. And I think I might actually trace this one again. Let me make sure I have it so that I can fit 2 in there. And I'm going to trace just on one side, and I'm going to cut through both. But because the antler is a little bit more complicated, I didn't want to cut directly. I want to do a little tracing first. So in the meantime, my hot glue gun is warming up. So if you are making along with me, warm up that hot glue gun because we're going to need it to make some things very tacky and very crazy. Now I'm cutting through 2 layers at the same time to give me both of those antlers. Oh, someone says their kids' class has an ugly shirt day and the kids get to vote. I love that. And they won 2 years in a row. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I love a good costume contest. Oh man, Halloween is my favorite holiday. But you know, anything where you get to dress up um, and show off that creativity, I love those opportunities. And I love that the kids just put whatever they wanted to on their shirts and they won. That's awesome. Got some very creative kiddos there. Yep, in the chat we said that the quote of today's class is feel free to choose your own level of tacky. And that is true in life. Yes, that is true in life. Okay, I think we have all the pieces that we need so far. We have our 2 ears for the reindeer, and now we have 2 antlers. So you can mirror the antlers, and I like to have the shortest side towards the center. And you can figure out where on your sweatshirt, especially if you have different size sweatshirts for different people. If you're going to make an ugly sweater for someone, that's very nice of you. But you want to leave some space up here so that you can make sure you can add some extra tacky if that is your level. And this is looking great. So I'm going to start setting out some of the other pieces to see if I like them and where I like them. Be careful with your eyes. Make sure that both of your eyes wiggle. I had it once where like this was pushed down and so it was stuck in a permanent wiggle, like crazy eye situation. So yeah, make sure that both of your eyes wiggle before you glue them down. And we also have on our pattern a little bit of a nose and some ears. So the mouth looks like this. It's kind of like a little mustache. So I'm going to cut this out. And again, this is something that I kind of freehanded the shape on the felt myself, but I put it onto this pattern just in case you didn't feel very comfortable freehanding your own mouth. So what I did was I folded a piece in half so that the smile kind of mirrored each side. And I'm going to do this on black. If you wanted to do this on a dark brown or something, that would be just fine too. So I'm grabbing some black felt and making sure I get my stickers off of the black felt. There we go. I'm going to cut out a little square of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this. So if you have some questions in the chat, let me know. But I'm really glad that some of you were able to join me today so that I don't have to craft alone. And next week coming up, we have a couple of really cool classes. I have a miniatures class. So if you've seen all those adorable little miniature scenes, I'm going to put a couple of those together. We did one for Halloween and it was such a hit. So we're going to do it again for Christmas. I'm going to cut this down, make a little bit of a better mouth shape now that I've got the outline. But yeah, we have a miniatures class next week that you can join me with. And we also have a gala wreath, which is a really elegant wreath. Yesterday in class, we learned a bunch of bow making techniques. So if you weren't able to come to that class, you can always go to the YouTube channel and check that out. Teach yourself how to make some of those cool bows I was showing you before. Some of these velvet ribbon bows are just really popular. You can add those to your sweatshirt or do lots of fun things, put it in your hair, anything you want to with those. I'm going to use a big red pom-pom for the nose, so I don't have to worry about the nose and I can just pull the mouth down a little bit here. And then I want to put little black lines in the ears too. So again, there are little templates if you want to cut out the templates, but it's pretty easy for you to kind of freehand that also. So I'm just cutting myself a little piece of the felt And I'm going to fold it in half since I'm making two of them. And really it's just like a little curve. So you probably don't need a template for that, but feel free to use it if you want it. And I'm going to sharpen the end of that curve like that. And then have just this little detail for the ears. Perfect. I am ready for my hot glue gun, and my hot glue gun is ready for me. So we are in luck. It's time to start gluing down. So I think the first thing you'll always want to glue down is your circle, and make sure that your circle is centered. So check where the tag is, check where the top of your shirt or your sweatshirt is. Make sure that you have that centered as best you can. I'm going to start by doing a fold down, and I'm going to do a run of hot glue along the top of the circle and let that do its job. And then I'm going to fold up and do a run of hot glue around the second half of the circle. And feel free to add a line or two in the middle just for extra security. Now, if you really did want to continually wash these ugly sweaters and use them for multiple years and multiple contests, then instead of gluing this directly on, you can put a little piece of Velcro, and you can use the felt and Velcro the felt to that. So you can just attach the reindeer via Velcro, which means you can rip that whole Velcro off and wash the sweatshirt with that little bit of Velcro on it, and then attach everything again. So I don't think that these eyes are going to do well being washed. I don't think some of the extra adornment we're going to put on is going to do well, but if you make this whole base Velcro to the sweatshirt, then you can take it back off of the sweatshirt and wash the sweatshirt each time. So that's just an idea. I probably should have tucked the ears a little before I put that line down too, but I think I can still make that work. So next I'm going to put my ears and antlers on, and I kind of need to have both of them down at the same time so I can make sure that I have them in the right placement. So it looks like this is a pretty good placement, and I'm going to go ahead and start gluing this down. There we go. I definitely want to get this piece here close to the top of the head. There we go. And I'll tuck that little bit of head over top of that. And then I'll pull down these pieces and make sure I get along the edges so it doesn't come up. I need some more hot glue. There we go. Got to work fast with that hot glue. Put it back down. There we go. Now on this one, make sure this line goes kind of underneath the edge of the head. Perfect. I'm gonna grab this part right here, and then I'll fold the rest down. I have also done ugly sweaters before that light up. Now, if you commit to a lighting up ugly sweater, you're definitely not going to be able to wash it. But what I did was I would attach some of these lights. So let's pretend like I made a big felt Christmas tree. I would go through and cut holes in the sweatshirt and cut holes in the felt and pull up these lights so you can have lights in different places. And then usually these come with battery packs too. So I would make a little pocket inside of my sweatshirt and like basically glue a little envelope so that you can stick the pocket and you can turn your sweatshirt on and off throughout the day so that you can save the battery. I used to be a teacher. I was a middle school and high school math teacher for about 17 years. So I like dressing up, and I like being silly, and I like being ridiculous. So you better believe I had a battery pack in my shirt so that my shirt could do things. And then when we needed to take a quiz or be serious, I could turn those lights off and be a little less tacky, as Rich was saying before. So I think the level of tacky thing is important. You need to be able to adjust for all occasions. So here I am putting on the ears and putting them into the position I want them to be in, tucking them under the face also. There we go. And Here are the ears. Adorable. I'm going to put those black lines on. I'm definitely going to glue down the eyes. My favorite part.
We have a question, Megan. What other types of glue could one use to attach the felt?
Great question. I really think hot glue is going to work the best, but if you don't have hot glue, I think the next best glue is tacky glue. So a thick tacky glue is going to be best with felt, especially. So yeah, thanks for asking. Figure out where you want the eyes. Sometimes you want your eyes to be far apart because it's silly. Sometimes you want them super close to be silly, and sometimes you want them just a normal distance. So decide again what you prefer. And I'm just attaching this hot glue again to the eyes. And I know that they still wiggle, so that's good news. They're not going to get stuck in one position. I have these lines for the ears, so I can carefully put these down. Tacky glue is quite fitting. That's hilarious. I didn't even think of that. Makes sense. You want to attach a bunch of stuff to stuff? That's tacky glue. That is tacky glue. That's what you use. All right, we got the ears. I want to put the nose on. I got a little string I'm going to cut off. See where I want my red nose. I love this red nose. It's really cute. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the mouth below that. There we go. Perfect. Loving this. I'm going to put the dotted glue relatively big because I am going to smush some of the pom-pom onto this. I'm going to hold this here so I can make sure enough of the surface area of the red nose is sticking to my glue, because this is an easy part that could potentially fall off. We don't want that. Looking great already. So you could stop here and you would have a really adorable reindeer sweatshirt and everyone would say, oh my gosh, you're so cute. But do you want to be cute or do you want to be tacky? So if you want to be tacky, which I do, I'm going to go to my big old thing of ribbons and I am going to pull out some of this cool silver tinsel ribbon. And I'm going to start cutting some pieces and making it look like I have this ribbon and just have these antlers wrapped up in ribbon. So I'm going to kind of fold it over and do some funky things and glue it down and cut it apart in different places so that I can start making this tacky. I don't want cute today. I want tacky. So that's what we're going to go for. Here we go. I'm going to start up here and I'm going to glue down this diagonal. There we go. And I am going to fold it over so that it looks like it's wrapping around. And then I can glue down this next diagonal. And then the rest of the antlers want to get in on the action. So I'm going to fold it over to get to the other side. There we go. There. We are doing it. This is looking great. Everyone will be jealous. So I think this is where I'm going to end on just this particular piece. And I need to glue that down. Beautiful. And I want to do just a little bit on this one. Maybe just something, maybe just one zigzag like that. I like it. Cool. All right, that's looking good. I'm going to do something similar on the other side. Feel free to use some of the other ribbon too. So this particular ribbon has like little tinsel balls of red and green. So you could also add that in. It's just like an antler got its head stuck in something like a Christmas tree and just, had some things happen. So I'm going to fold some of this and do a little bit more decorating on this side, gluing that down as we go. If you're looking for some small gift ideas, I do have a couple classes coming up that could help you with that. So we're going to be doing some wood burning, which I think is always cool to like personalize something for someone in a very different way with wood burning. So you can make some gift tags, you can make some ornaments, lots of different things coming up in that class. I also have some last minute floral arrangements. So especially if you're going somewhere to a party and you just need to take some sort of gift pretty quickly, grab that as you're going out the door. That's another thing we can do. So someone says that they'll be with their kids. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, if you have made a Christmas sweatshirt or sweater before and you're willing to share it with us, we would love for you to tag us at Learn with Michaels so that we can see your beautiful Christmas sweater creation and we can all ooh and ah over it. So please share if you're on Instagram. Also, following Learn with Michaels is a great way for you to kind of keep up to date with all the different classes. We have a couple of really cool instructors that are doing some awesome holiday baking classes too. So check those out. Not to mention a lot of card making and just we're getting everybody ready for the holidays. So here is some good tinsel. That looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to go to some pom-poms. Let me shake this off. Ooh. Shaking some of that extra tinsel out of the way. And then I'm going to grab some pom-poms. And you can use whatever color pom-poms you want to. And I'm going to randomly place those as well. This is already making my sweater much more colorful and much more tacky. So I like that. And I'm just attaching these kind of randomly. Scooting out the colors so I kind of balance myself. Adorable. And there we go. Looking good. Feel free to keep adding until you've reached your level of saturation. I'm not there yet. I'm going to keep going. I would like someone to look at my sweatshirt and think, wow, did you make that yourself? And I would say, yes, of course I did. Of course I did. All right, I have a little bit more of that tinsel with the red and green. So I'm going to kind of like stretch this across the antlers. And you might not be able to see that on the video very well, but it looks pretty cool and adding a little bit more dimension on my side of things. And I can definitely see it from my angle. Pulling off some of them hot glue strings that we're getting. And then I'm going to grab a bit of hot glue and put this down into it. There's only a couple places to grab on this with the hot glue, so I'm going to actually push it down with something else so I don't burn my fingers. We don't want that. There we go. And this does have a little bit of a wire in this ribbon, so it lets you kind of bend it around, which I like too. Awesome. We are doing well. And think about some of your other ribbons. So this one is like a zigzag rickrack kind of ribbon that also has some green sparkle to it. So if you feel like you would like to add that anywhere, of course you can. If you just want to use this as like some trim, so if you want to put it around the sleeves, or you might have remembered on my original sweatshirt, I'm going to pull that one back up and show you that I also added some bows and some more garland. So here's my original green version, where you can see all the tackiness that I put up here. I added some bells. And then I really like taking these velvet bows and making very tacky shoulders, kind of like a nutcracker situation. That made me feel like a little bit of a nutcracker touch to it. And then down here, I added that red and green tinsel rickrack and also some more bows just to make it extra special and extra unique, I would say. So if you don't want to use the red bows, or if you weren't able to get the red bows might not look great on this red sweatshirt. So you can always try something different, like having this strip of a green, using that Santa's belt. So this is another ribbon that comes in that same pack that we were talking about before, and it looks like Santa's belt. So that might be a fun thing to put around the waist area of your sweatshirt. Let me pull this out and show you. That's fun. With that Santa's belt action. So feel free to use any of these other ribbons to kind of really zhuzh it up and make it even more festive and fabulous. I think I do have a couple of bells that I can attach because I also like people to know when I'm coming. So this is fun. At a school I used to teach at, we had something called the Jingle Bell Run, where all the kids would come in with and tie jingle bells to their shoes and would do like a little run for their gym class. And then we would all go out and cheer them and get hot chocolate. So that was really, really fun. But I like that sound of you can hear them coming by adding a couple jingle bells. So I'm just using some hot glue to attach a couple of jingle bells to the antlers so you can see me and hear me and know that it's Christmas time. Know that it is tacky sweater time. Loving it. All right, we're pretty close. So I'm going to use a couple of the bows and a couple of pieces of ribbon to kind of finish this up. So let me find my bows on my table of treasures. And the bows come with like twist ties so that you can attach them to lots of different things. You can attach these bows into your tree. You can take a big long strip of ribbon and you can make your own garland. So there have been some viral velvet ribbon garlands that have been going crazy on TikTok and Instagram. You can make your own by kind of getting some of these and attaching them to your own ribbon to create a garland. So if they're out of the garland, try making one of your own. But if you are going to attach these to your sweatshirt, you want to kind of take that twist tie off. It's really easy to just remove, and then you have something flat to be able to attach this to. Remember, if you want to make your shirt more versatile and if you want it to be able to come on and off, you can always leave the ribbon, leave that twist tie and cut tiny, tiny little holes and twist it on the inside so that this is something you can take off if you ever did want to actually wash this sweatshirt. Or, try it, try it in a machine. So you definitely need to hand wash unless you take some extra steps. And I'm just going to take off a couple more of these bows here. And I think I'm going to do the two shoulders, even though it's red on red, I still think it looks fun and festive. So I'm going to add these two reds to the shoulders. And I already took off the twist tie on one of them. I think if I cut this, it will probably go faster. There we go. That's much easier to do. Slip that out. And when I do this, I'm definitely going to put a dot of hot glue on the knot. And then after I've placed it, this is just really nice on the shoulder seam right here. And it's the perfect size for this bow. And I kind of like that the bow kind of hangs into the reindeer. So I'm going to place the knot of the bow into this dab of hot glue. And I'm not gonna hot glue the ribbons. I'm gonna let those dangle as they will, but I am going to do a little dab on each side of the bow, not at the very end of the bow so that I can kind of fluff it up if I want to, but a little bit closer to the center so that it can still have some fluff to the bow. I'm going to attach a bow on the other side for symmetry and beauty. Doing the same thing where I'm going to put a bigger dab of hot glue in the center. There you go. Putting the knot into that section. And then doing just a little dab on either side, not quite at the end because I don't want the bow to be totally flat. I want it to be able to kind of poof up. So when I fold this over, making my dot about an inch away from the top of the bow. And over here, about an inch away from the top. And then it can still be beautiful. I'm going to put a line of that green down here. I'm not going to wrap around the whole body of the sweatshirt, especially when you don't know the size of the person who's going to wear it. Because you still want to allow stretch. That's the whole point of the sweatshirt. So just go from a side to side, but don't wrap all the way around it. It'd be a little too restrictive. And I'm going to find the center first. And I'm going to build out from there. And try and keep that in a nice line. Feel free to use as many rows of this as you'd like. That's kind of up to you. I'm gonna put some dots. And I'm going to stretch it across to try and keep it as straight as I can. And we are getting close to the end of our sweatshirt time together. So if you have any questions or if there's anything that you still are thinking about or any ideas you have for me to try next, feel free to put them into the chat. Again, if you want to watch this class later, if you want to go out and buy some crazy supplies and grab a couple friends and make your sweatshirts, you can watch this video again on YouTube. It'll be up on Monday, and you'll be able to still have time to make your own DIY holiday sweater. Pulling this across to kind of keep it straight. And I think this holiday sweatshirt is finished. So Rich, if you don't mind switching me back over to my other camera, let me show you my finished result. Aha! What a beautiful, tacky, fantastic reindeer sweatshirt I have created. And the reindeer looks really silly with these eyes. I think the eyes are just what really makes it. So I had a lot of fun making this sweatshirt today. I hope that you had a lot of fun watching, and feel free to join us every Thursday and Friday for Arts and Crafts with me. And I will see you again crafting real soon. Bye, everyone.